permission because I don't automatically record anything. Okay.
Ready.
Oh, you're ready. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Hi, Cottrell. Um, Cottrell and I have pre-discussed this session. Okay, and we've decided that we're going to position this as getting to know each other. It would be safe to watch this to assume that we're going to flow through two psychodynamic measures here. The theoretical framework will do a working through, and then we're going to try a free association. And the topic is going to be exploring each other to see if we're right, to see if we want to work together as supervisee and supervisor. Okay. All right. So, Cottrell, welcome. Um, you approached, and we're going to go through this together. Very interested in exploring psychodynamic work from
Right.
a supervisor perspective. So you're coming in as a supervisee. We haven't really signed or committed to any agreements yet. So our disclosure is this is a, how do you say, equivalent to consultation between each other.
Right. Correct.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So to position that, do you have any questions for me? And if you don't, I have some for you to start this conversation. What would be easier for you to start this?
Mm. What would be the I think it would be easier for you to ask the questions, and as we go along,
Okay.
it prompt
All right. Yeah. All right.
or encourage
Oh, good.
questions to come up.
So at any time, if there's anything particularly difficult or if you think we're out of scope of the consultation phase,
Mhm.
just let me know. Right.
Okay.
So tell me, you've had
Yes.
supervision before.
Mhm.
Can you give me two narratives? What did you like about your previous supervision and what you didn't like about the supervision? I'm asking this question so we go down the rabbit trail of a place that you've already been and you've explored and you don't want to go there again.
Mhm.
Um, Very specifically, I'm not curious about the supervisors themselves, but more of your experience.
Mhm.
So, can you tell me a little bit about what you found helpful and what you did not find helpful?
Right. From my experience, what I didn't find helpful from previous supervisors was the lack of authenticity and being straightforward and honest with feedback. Um, you know, just upon reflection of how uh certain um instances or example cases or certain feelings that we're experiencing were not authentically validated. It was just more like brushing over and not really being honest about it. However, what I did like was the group experience. You know, the group experience where the team got together, was able to share, express oneself, talk about cases, highlight certain things. And I feel like that's where a lot of the development aspect for me came from, and that's why it was very helpful.
Okay. Can you fill me in and go a little bit deeper for me on what you maybe even give me an example of what when you felt not validated, when you felt something was very unauthentic?
So, when I was, I think, for example, I remember uh, a case where I had what do you call it, like a recorder, and I brought like I recorded the session and I brought it to her and we were listening. And I can't even remember exactly what the conversation was about entirely. However, I do remember her facial expression and her reaction, and she was just nodding, and and she was like, right, right. There was something about it, me, that was not right, because I could tell during the session and the audio recording that I don't think I was doing the right thing, but she didn't address it. She just more or less nod, and then kind of skipped over it and not really acknowledged that component. But
So you just skipped over it. She didn't really,
yeah,
she wasn't in the moment with it. It wasn't present.
yeah.
Okay. Can you just take a second and tell me what that felt like?
Um,
Because you said you didn't know exactly what it was, but was
yeah.
it a feeling or was it an emotion that came forward? Would you be able to identify that again?
Thinking back about it, more energy. Is it like more of an energy? And I don't know if that makes sense.
It
I guess,
does.
I guess if I can transfer the energy into emotion, felt like, how would I describe oh, that like invalidated the emotion probably be maybe professionally hurt, if that makes sense.
It does. Where does it live in your body? Like, is there a place, like if you were to do a body scan from the top to the bottom, where does that live?
Somewhere on the between the left side of like the chest or the pectoral areas within the chest,
Okay.
or right below that, not too far from the heart, but maybe like
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that's interesting. Okay. So it's kind of living in there. And is that something that came often during that session
Um,
or those sessions? Sorry.
some sessions, yeah. Some sessions, but over time, it just become almost like habituated to it. It's just like mm, so then it just led me to explore,
Okay.
help me to go on more of a self-discovery exploration professionally. And not so much seeking help from other supervisors, but more just spending time by myself to just reflect and, focus.
Okay. So you really love to reflect. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah, try to.
Okay. So you mentioned that the supervision experience that you really, really liked was the group supervision experience.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Are you open to the one-on-one or is the group, it offers you something
I am,
that you wouldn't get in a one-on-one
uh,
experience?
be honest, I'm open to both. Um,
Okay.
I'm open to both. One-on-one, um, there's more of a, there's more of a bond. There's more of a professional bond there, and professional bond and professional intimacy where I can be able to detail the professional aspects that I would not detail in a group supervision as much. If that makes sense.
It
Like,
does. Yeah.
whilst with group supervision, I'm allowed to hear therapists with more years of experience compared to my 3.5, 4 years of experience. I get to hear theirs. I get to hear their cases, how they manage, how they cope, and then I'd be able to try to reflect on myself. So I'm more likely to be quiet in a group supervision because I'm listening, compared to like the one-on-one, if that makes sense.
Okay. So is what I'm hearing is there's a lot of comfort knowing at this stage, early stage, knowing where you fit within the scope of other peers. And you love to, and what I'm hearing is you like to identify
Mhm.
and model yourself. Mm, correct me if I'm wrong, after other people in the group that might have more
I mean,
experience?
I don't know if it modeling or aspire wanting to be like that, you
Okay.
know, or like comparing myself like, like, why am I not thinking like that? Why am I not asking those kind of questions, you know?
Oh, okay. All right. So what I'm hearing from you is you would prefer a group environment to be nestled in a very specific constructed group,
Mhm.
perhaps with ranges of people from experience similar to yourself to very experienced.
To be fair, I wouldn't mind nestling in a group that just has more experience than me because I feel like once they have more experience than me, then I'll be able to um submerge myself in areas and experiences years ahead of mine. So then I guess my progress to where I want to be, not to faster, but it might be maybe a few months ahead of my time, maybe a year ahead of my time, or however therapists develop professionally, throughout
Okay.
their therapeutic lifespan. That makes sense.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about that comfort that it gives you to hear this from more than one peer as opposed to one supervisor.
Um, mm, that comfort that it gives. Um, it gives it gives more like a nonchalant. I won't
Mhm.
use the word vibe. You know what I mean? Gives like a
Yeah, no,
nonchalant.
vibe is cool. Yeah, vibe is
Yeah,
good. Yeah, because now you are, with peers, even though they have much more experience, it doesn't put all your eggs in the basket of that one supervisor
right,
and being
right,
able to draw from the one supervisor,
right.
just between you and I, for example, right? So what I'm trying to explore here would be the comfort um, of that therapeutic relationship that we need to have, that you're well aware of with your own clients, that you would feel more comfortable nested in an environment was ongoing. Yeah. Would you be more comfortable seeing the same individuals on a regular basis, or are you going to be more comfortable with rotational access to different?
Um, I like the rotation because I'm getting that one-on-one experience, that one-on-one,
Mhm.
as I said, um, more interactive, intimate,
Okay.
one-on-one guided, whilst the group lends overarching theme of um, experiences and case man, and I want to say coping with certain cases and just hearing about how they manage when I don't know a certain person coming and the dynamic is then the dynamic might be confrontational. How did they manage that? Or this person come with this case, or you have two clinicians with similar cases, but both deal with it differently. So it lends uh like just a analysis of you know how can I build as a therapist.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that to really position you and to make sure that you would be set up for success here is you would really love to be in a group of more senior, be exposed to more senior clinicians, supervisees, perhaps, on a peer sharing
Yeah,
environment so that you can, pick up on the vibe is very important to you. And that's
yeah,
where you feel that you would be best, happiest.
yeah. I mean, to be
Okay.
fair, I feel like I would be happiest
Okay.
individually. It's just that both gives different experiences. you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay,
I enjoy experiencing experiences,
okay. Yeah.
especially a
Okay.
professional standpoint. So
Okay. So you have absolutely okay, I'm going to go a little bit deeper. You have no trouble being the youngest of the group. You're okay with that, understanding that dynamic between yourself and your.
yeah, I think I just got to keep reminding myself that, you know, these persons have years of experience, but at the same time, I'm like, I should be holding on to this knowledge that I'm learning and not continuing to, you know, struggle at times. Although some of these persons has had like, you know, whole 10-year, 7-year head start than me,
Okay.
who's only been here for 4 years. So I'm not even seasoned yet, but I'm just starting to
Yeah.
um just sprinkle of little salt, little season, little peppers, on my professional career. Nothing too deep as yet.
Okay, that's a nice analogy.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to make sure we're on the same page, let's
Mm-hmm.
say that you have a scenario where you're going to choose individual supervision options or group supervision options. And after a period of a while, you have an option to choose whom you group with versus random groupings, new people coming in and out. What would you choose?
I would choose persons. To be honest, I would choose persons with least. To be honest, I would want one person to be at least 5 or 6 years into their experience, just so I can
Mhm.
see somebody who's close in range in me and what they've learned and where I should be at the moment. And then everybody else can have like 10, 20 years, 25 years
Okay,
experience, if that makes sense.
it does. Yeah, it does. Because that's where you feel that you're going to pick up. I'm hearing from you that that's where you feel that it's going to be have the strongest impact on you,
Right. Yeah, yeah,
which is what we're here for. Yeah.
right, right.
So many eyes and many brains makes for a much better experience, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. um, yeah.
Okay.
Or less eyes, more brain. Yeah.
That sounds more brains. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's nice. And what I'm hearing is it also puts a check on some of the experiences that you said that weren't great with previous supervision, that you had at some moments lost a modicum of trust with the supervisor, that you had that feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm. At the same time, I mean, I try to be realistic in terms of like that just this one experience doesn't mean all experiences are going to be the same.
Mhm.
So that's why I found it comfortable to reach out to you and connect and just observe and see what it's like. Um,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because I do, as I said, I do believe that one-on-ones are, you know, almost in parallel to group, right? It's just that
Hmm.
both offers a dynamic, two different
Hmm.
dynamics. So, yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
So tell me a little more about the story of where you're at with supervision and exactly why it is. It sounds to me like your supervision journey is not about collecting hours, it's more about collecting, nurturing, and accumulating information.
So my journey right now is just, being, developing, want to be the best therapist I can be,
Yeah.
especially living in the the Caribbean at the moment where psychotherapy counseling is still heavily stigmatized, or working in the prison where there's um you you seeing it firsthand from the lack of help, seeking behaviors in men. And
Mhm.
so um I think it's more working or just being developing as a developing, growing. So by the time I reach 35
Yeah.
or 40, I should be ahead of where, you know, feel like I should be well versed, well accomplished, well, you know,
Okay.
almost ahead of my time. But maybe that's too much
Right.
expectations. So, right.
No, no, you've got to have a vision. You've got to work towards a vision. So
Yeah.
my question is now, just to shift this story a little bit, tell me about your typical client base and what's important to you as a supervisor as the skill set that you're hoping to work with.
I mean, what's important to me as a supervisor?
Are you planning on staying with it within your forensic environment? Or are you looking at branching out? Or where are, now that we're on the topic of your future developments, Cottrell,
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
where, what is your ultimate goal?
Be honest. Um,
Yeah, absolutely honest. This is what you weren't getting before.
yeah, yeah, yeah. To be honest, my ultimate goal would be um to work in the school.
Oh,
My ultimate goal would, because right now, as I said, I work in a prison setting, a lot of
yeah.
social personality disorder. So it's helping me to build character in that
Mhm.
component. I guess my end goal is to uh work uh in the school setting, maybe become like a lead counselor, supervisor role
Mhm.
eventually, because I have all these ideas that I think can help reform, a lot of uh, the gaps and the loopholes that are destabilizing the help
Mm.
that kids need within this. So that's my long-term goals, and also not just that, but branch out and connect with other therapists, counselors within the region as well.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is your journey through this forensic phase
Hmm.
is really going to feed beautifully into what you think you can do in
Yeah,
your next step, which is for kids. I heard that. Tell me, yeah. So this is not this journey is part of the development, but how soon are you wanting to transition? Because this is sounds like it's you had it very formulated. You were very I heard a lot of confidence come up there.
it yeah, it sounds a lot of confidence, but internally it's kind of it's an internal conflict, if that makes sense. Because I'm trying to, in terms of I'm trying to reassure myself that, look, you know, you still you only been 4 years in, but you know, everybody else is head button is like, I want to get there, like I want to be where everybody else is, but that just that internal.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay. So let's just can we just have a little bit of move forward into this and let's try
Mm-hmm.
something a little bit different to kind of move along exactly what it is you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do a little bit of free association.
Okay.
And free association is just kind of like taking a deep breath in through the nose
Mm-hmm.
and out through the nose. And I'm just going to throw a short phrase or a couple of words at you, and you're just going to speak to it and just be absolutely candid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And some people think it just helps to close your eyes while you hear it because it helps you kind of just internalize the words. So here come the words. I'm ready to move into the school system.
ready to move into the school system. Comes to mind. First thing that comes to mind is make a change.
Mm. And what about that change? What does
Uh,
change represent to you? What does that mean?
what that does mean? It means, as I said earlier, it means reform at the same time. Reshape. Um, not re- reinvent the wheel in some aspects, but not reinvent the wheel in other aspects, but build upon what's already established. Um, protecting counselors from burnout. Um,
Mm.
supporting, having knowledge of what's what's new within the realm of teenagers, pre-adolescence age, and adapting, being flexible into integrating and assimilating towards them, and just having them to someone that they could speak to, you know, connecting with the parents as well. So changing
Okay,
compasses.
okay. So here's another phrase. I'm ready.
When ready,
I am ready.
I am ready. I am ready to. I am ready to make that change. I'm ready
Even
to make that
even
change.
though you said you weren't, even though you said you weren't.
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready to make that change. I'm ready to think deeper. That, yeah.
Mm. Well, what what does it explain? Just so I don't make an assumption, tell me
Mm-hmm.
what think deeper means to you, Cottrell.
Think deeper means, um, I guess thinking. I'm ready to think a bit more critically. Ready to think, uh,
Oh, maybe loosen it up a bit and give me an example.
uh, critically, as in,
Boots on the ground. Got a kid in front of you.
mm-hmm,
You can go one way or the other. Or she.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Critically meaning, I guess, thinking more of a leader, if that makes sense.
Not sure I got it yet. Keep working with me.
Okay. Thinking deeper means, um, more critically, analyzing certain situations, being able to, uh, let's see,
What would a
um,
situation be? A child in
um,
truancy or a child who's ready to make a
right,
good decision?
yeah, or using my, for example, you know, just connecting how my experience working as a correctional counselor, right? And then going into the school and how I can prevent, you know, certain things from, you know, switching or developing from a oppositional defiant behavior, conduct behavior to anti-personality behaviors, like, thinking deeper and critically in setting interventions up in the school, like stuff like that.
Hmm. Okay, give it to me in kid talk if you can.
And kid talk.
Yeah, because what age group are we dealing with here? Are
Um,
we high school? Are we adolescents? Are we peanut stage, what I call the
I
kindergarten to grade three?
Yeah, yeah. It would most likely be um high school. Well, I would
Oh,
hope
okay.
that they place me in high school, right? Right.
Okay.
So give it to you in a teenage sense. If I was to talk to the teens, let's see, my previous experience, it'd be more like, look, I try and prevent you from getting into certain trouble that gonna land you in prison. Just,
Ooh,
more just straightforward and direct, if that makes sense.
yeah, it does, based on what I've known about you from the past. Crack the whip, if we
Yeah,
can refer to that.
yeah.
Um,
And more
so,
culturally, it's more it's more culturally appropriate as well. So it's more
oh, how so?
um because it's um how I guess that straightforwardness is how, that connection is just telling them straight up like that. Look, either gonna be either gonna continue down the path and this gonna happen, or you know, they're gonna happen this way if you continue this way. So these are options we have, and this is what we can do to help prevent that. So talk to the kids like that, and also I guess it would be a bit more professional on the parents depending on how they respond.
Okay. So can I now have you step just gently back into your therapist mode?
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit how your current
Hmm.
um I want to use the right word here. Not necessarily framework, but your technique. For example, psychodynamics. Whether you're going to be CBT or whether you're going to be solution focused or existentialism. What is it that you think is going to really bring you into communication
Right.
with
Yeah.
this population? Just to make
With
sure that,
that I
yeah,
can't work with now, or like my future.
your future. Yeah,
To be honest,
yeah.
I think a combination of that psychodynamic and
Hmm.
existential theoretical component, that
Okay.
existentialism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see that working on um, many fronts, and especially how you're well versed in that psychodynamic area. I think understanding um those childhood experiences and how they can, you know,
Yeah.
play out in adulthood, um, consciously, subconsciously, right? And then looking at the existential verse of what does it mean, that responsibility. Because I
Mhm.
can see now here how the childhood played out and how they ended up in the in prison or incarcerated. So then it's almost like I'm working in reverse, if that makes sense. So now
It it
I can,
does.
yeah, so I can tie both of them in and like long them in it. That's how I can see how it can work. That makes sense.
Yes, it does. It's all about the patterns and, yeah, what they call in, other techniques, their schema, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Their experiences and where they are now,
Mhm.
and to have that knowledge and for you to have access to the knowledge on both sides,
Right.
um, being able to prevent and steer them in the right way
Yeah,
is
yeah,
powerful. It's very powerful.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Even reminding me that, you know, the situation in right now, doing all the forensic work you do, with people who are already incarcerated, you know their stories, and
Yeah.
you'll be able to recognize those stories when you hear them for these kids that haven't been there yet.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause
Mm.
I noticed
Yeah, I
that
can,
a lot of, because I guess I noticed that for therapists working in the prison aspects usually is like on the later end of the careers as well too. So, I wanted to kind of reverse that in the school counseling more of when I'm a bit more seasoned and more understanding, develop more character skills, you know.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can see how that would be very valuable, very
yeah,
valuable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So it's very valuable, yeah,
Yeah.
very valuable. Mm, yeah.
So on a personal level, what do you know about that high school experience that they have? I'm just doing a check-in now to see, um, without asking you too directly, to sort of understand or explain to me how balanced the transference and countertransference would be between you and the population that you deal with.
Mm.
Because you,
Oh, mm,
on one hand, really understand where they could end up,
mm,
and you're trying so hard to keep them from,
kind of up
you know,
there.
yeah,
Mm. The experience, um, I guess personally for me, I, I guess boundaries would set in knowing how much
mm,
I invest to that extent. So just knowing enough is enough and I've done enough, right? At the end of the day, that's where um that ownership and responsibility, that responsibility of that existential component comes in. Because I mean, even if applying it to my life, right? Knowing that after a certain time period, then if you're not taking heed or in what I'm saying, or just trying to recognize the help that is being brought across, then you know, I guess to avoid that counter transference or that transference is more of, all right, this is where the boundary is, and I'll step back a bit.
oh, okay. So explain to me how that relates to something you told me about 5 or 6 minutes ago. One of the things that came up just immediately after the free association was burnout.
Yeah. Hmm.
It sounds to me like you know yourself fairly well and you're concerned about
Yeah, 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 yeah.
burnout.
That. Ooh, yeah. I
But
always
you have
believe that.
capacity to do that. So that's going to have to be something you have to watch.
Yeah, right, 100%. And so that's why I always believe in that, you know, as therapists, you only so much.
It
You only can
is.
do you only can do so much. Um, a lot of the work in takes place outside of the therapeutic room. So
Mm.
I
On
mean,
on one on one hand, they're asking us to be very compassionate and very, full of passion. And on the other hand, they're saying, don't burn out. And
yeah,
when you get somebody who, I mean, in your case, it sounds to me like it would be the result of you just caring too much, caring too damn much.
like hearing or doing things that is in let me not say doing, let's say investing in or overly investing because you can invest, right? Fine, but overly investing in an abundance that is unnecessary, then that's where it's
Yeah.
that's where and I've worked in a clinical setting before where it's like a over investment. So is you can see the
Yeah.
repercussions of that.
Yeah. The investment part, is there an element of you being able to carry the ones that didn't, I'm
Mm.
not going to say listen, but the ones that didn't get it in time?
I guess the first answer that comes to my head when you say that is yes. Um, but then at the same time, it's more of me reducing the overthinking thought process of am I doing well? Am I doing good enough? Like I did this, but it didn't work. Um,
That would be a very interesting. How do you measure that?
um, well, I guess just based on I
I
guess
really don't know.
just based on like response and
Yeah.
um response, feedback,
Yeah.
um, whether they continue to come to you, um,
Okay.
you know, it,
Okay.
I assume it means something, right?
All right. So that would measure, how the trust, the therapeutic relationship.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay. That's important.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm not, and just to be clear here, I'm not asking you questions that I know the answer.
Right,
I'm just
right.
very, at this particular point, I'm kind of very interested in,
Mhm,
your thought processes on those kind of things.
mhm,
I'm kind of in the learning mode with you.
mhm.
Yeah. And I find that interesting because you can't save them all.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can't, you know.
And what do you do with, how do you hold, and how do you even describe the ones, that,
How do I hold? To be honest, I don't even think I hold. I just I just walk my hands behind my back and you know, you lead me and I walk with you. I won't tell you if it's the right path, but I'll question whether you think this is the right path,
Mhm.
right? And question why you think this is the right. And how did you, come to this conclusion?
Mm.
What does it mean that you're going down this path? You know,
Yeah.
what if you go down this path alone, right? What would that experience look like for you? Um,
Yeah.
have you been down this path before, maybe in your childhood, or you've walked with someone down this path before? Like, those kind of, experience. But for the ones who, I guess, guide me towards the directions where they want to go, um,
Yeah.
is more of a, well, you knew the answers all along. It was just, you needed company. No,
Yeah.
I don't know if what I said just now makes sense in answer.
It does, because they may see the patterns and not
Right.
understand them, or understand the impact it has. Like you mentioned earlier, they have to understand the patterns that they're going through. And if they don't see the patterns, you're going to bring that pattern forth for them.
Right. Hmm.
Sometimes that's all they need, but sometimes they need more.
Right.
There's and there's also that aspect that you folded in earlier too, that you're going to be with them no matter where they go.
Yeah.
It's not a
Yeah.
conditional. It's not, how do you say, a conditional relationship.
Right.
Like if you screw up, you're going to still be there for them
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you've been there, right? That's what you're doing now.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So that ties in.
It really does. Um, because you ask is like, how do I hold? Like, how do I have the capacity? Um, and I guess you asking that just made me realize. I mean, maybe I have the capacity because I don't hold them and just
Mm.
walk with them. So for me, there's nothing to hold on to. Maybe for them there is, but me is just, you know, go along your merry way. Just here for the journey.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, or
That is,
what it seems like.
yeah. Yeah. Thanks for making me understand that, because it's unfolding for me the bigger picture,
Right.
the really bigger picture on. At first, it was easy just to say, my experience now is really going to help me later,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what you're really doing for them is, even though you're really, really hoping they don't go down that path, you're going to be there for them. And if they didn't get it the first time, hopefully it'll be a minor offense and they'll come out and they'll get it the second. You're not a quitter, right? That tells me you're not a quitter. So
Mm-hmm.
it's there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
adolescence thing makes sense to me now with you, because it sounds to me like you've chosen that to be the critical age, right? The critical age,
right? The critical age, yeah,
based on what the stories that you
yeah.
hear that you're experiencing now, is that where you're gathering that wisdom from, that knowledge?
Yeah. I guess the knowledge, the wisdom, that experience comes from, you know, actually, 'cause in the clinical setting before, I did work with teens,
Mhm.
right? I did, work in the schools or collaborated with some schools in managing certain students or some students. And so it's more of trying to reflect on those experiences and highlight what did I learn from those experiences that,
Yeah,
you know, is that I can bridge between seeing the ones inside here and how I can see the ones inside prison and how I can see those teens that I worked with and how
oh,
they're not careful how they can end up in here. So then I guess I can translate then my future component is how can I um, bridge between working, having experience working in the prison and working
yeah,
in the schools, and how can I bridge that and connect those two professional experiences? That makes sense.
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it does.
So the
So instead
stories
of
that you're hearing, yeah, the
yeah,
stories that you're hearing in the population of where you're well seated in right now
hmm yeah, 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 yeah,
is telling you that that is where you can be the most help.
yeah, 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 yeah. So it's
So what I'm hearing is you're
but
trying to get in front of it.
yeah, because I feel like I'm being prepared. Might be wrong, but
Yeah, yeah. And you're trying to get in front of it. A very preventative, if we can say that, approach
yeah,
for some.
yeah. For some, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
As many as you can. There's only one of you
hmm
relating back to the burnout, right?
yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, I mean, it is where I'm at right now in terms of
Hmm.
that aspect,
Hmm.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking to go future. But right now, I'm trying to really build myself as much as possible.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah. So as a wrap, it sounds to me like you'd be more interested in working in a wholesome group environment. Doesn't have to be forensics
Mm,
because that's
yeah,
not, am I sensing that?
yeah, it
Now,
doesn't have to be.
I had a few worries about, oh my gosh, how many people do I have available that that I could expose you to that would have different depth and breadth that would be remotely interesting to you. But when I heard your story, not just your past story, but your future visions and where you potentially see yourself going, makes more sense to me now.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as I
Mhm.
said, the individual component, like the individual sessions, ideally, they would benefit me as well too. So it's definitely not ruling that out. I want that as well. Um,
Mhm.
when and the group supervision is whenever it comes up, it'll come up. But the
Mhm.
one-on-one is I right now.
Yeah. Well, here we practice choice. One of the things that's important to me as a supervisor is when you do um, voluntarily book yourself in,
Mm-hmm.
and that comes as a really strange statement, but it's important to me that you're there because you want to be there. It's important to me, what you think about me as a supervisor, of course,
Right. Mm-hmm.
but that way I know you're here because you want to be
Right.
here.
Yeah.
You feel that you'd rather do the group experience, you book yourself into the group experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't insist you be here every week, which is why I asked you, where are you? Are you collecting hours at this particular point? Because my goodness, we can do that too, very
Yeah.
effectively. But if you're actually after knowledge and
That's what
accumulating that depth,
that's what I'm after.
then I do encourage you to be very selective, very, very selective, because you don't want to waste, all the energy involved in doing that. And we run simultaneously here, groups and individual. Um, and it really depends, and it's your choice.
Yeah.
Um, don't insist anybody comes absolutely every week. Um, you come when you feel the calling and when the need is. And I am not upset if you work with a second or a third supervisor either. Um, Not every supervisor can, this is just my opinion,
Yeah.
provide absolutely everything that you need to fulfill your unique journey,
True.
right? Because where you are sounds pretty unique to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The space you work in, the people you meet, and what it is you want to accomplish, and the combinations of techniques and frameworks that you've chosen work well together.
Mhm.
You need it to go where you want to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other thing that I like is I practice ongoing consent, not just one
Yeah.
whack of consent. So I ask you to sit and reflect on what you thought this was like and take a look at the site, do some more homework, do some more research. And that way I know after you're outside the influence of what we're doing right now, you choose, to come to me for supervision or to join the groups that I coordinate or that we coordinate here together. It's a big we group here
Yeah.
as a collective. If you still feel that this is something you want to participate in,
Mhm.
then we get together and we sign the consent forms and we decide on where we go from there. But I like somebody to sit and think about it for a day or two, sometimes a
Yeah.
week or two. Yeah.
Mhm.
And go through your process
Mhm.
and go
Okay.
through your
Yeah.
complete process. Yeah. I don't want you to feel pressured here or overwhelmed here or feeling like this is something you want to do here. But if you
Yeah.
go home and reflect on it and you still want to do it,
That's yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that way we know, we're engaged appropriately, right?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. All right. All right. So you give that. I'm not going to take an answer right now.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine. I
So,
can give it.
yeah. So we had a little chance to sort of explore each other and
Mhm.
sort of feel each other out. And yeah, I guess I'll know how you feel in the future.
Yeah. I'll keep you
So,
updated for sure.
um, not necessary unless you decide to join in. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, but if you do have some feedback, hey, we live on feedback. We love feedback. Like you
Yeah.
said, the feedback part, don't be afraid of the hard stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining,
Yeah.
Petrel.
No worries.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stop. Hello. That was the end of the formal work together that Cotrell and I did. And I wanted to bring together some key points now that I've had a chance to go through and reflect it as well. And just to give you some additional information on how that felt for me. There were a couple of key moments that I recognized, and it was very difficult for me to stay on track. I'm so used to doing therapy that to be able to be someone's supervisor really meant I had to dig and stay on my path and stay in my lane. But I noticed in and around on the video at about time 313, all the way through to 1810, there was frustration. And when I had asked that question, what did you like and what did you not like about previous supervision experiences? And Cottrell said that he hadn't had a previous experience that was really authentic, that he always felt that there was something that wasn't right, didn't resonate with him. And I got the feeling that he didn't trust. From there, we nurtured or came to a conversation on group therapy.
and that he would much prefer to be in a group therapy environment with more than one supervisor and a preference for very experienced therapy. I thought this would be something that I made special note of that would be worth exploring with him, because it came across as not trusting and with a little bit of wanting to learn more and understand that, and to see if there was some repair work that can be done there. Ideally, moving forward. And I sensed that there was some transference there because essentially we were assuming that he might entertain one-on-one supervision, and I didn't feel that I had built up enough trust or a therapeutic relationship at that point to get him to buy in to one-on-one therapy. But that's okay. If he prefers group, then that's where we start. Okay. Another key moment was at about time 24:15 when I thought, okay, perhaps we can create a more relaxed environment by using some free association. He was starting to talk, but I wanted to get into some other subjects, but I wanted him to come at it slowly and a little more structure to it. It feels a little random to him, and it felt a little random to me at that point. So I invited him to reflect on a safe structure and try to introduce the concept of free association. Once we went into forgetting about the structure and just letting it go and having a very nice conversation that was guided, I found and I felt the reflection deepen. He did require some reassurance and balancing his own fears that had to do with his provincial stance. And at this particular point, I felt the need to open the door so that we can get into what exactly is it that Cottrell wants? What is he looking for in order to unearth the very important goals of any work that we would do together? And at this point, I will reiterate that our work is, our example here was to see if we were fit for each other. It's that thought for fit and that work for fit to see if I can even give him absolutely everything that he needs. Following the cue from the free association, I'm going to go back to the time of 4:26 when he expressed worry about saying the wrong thing. I guided him by saying, what if the wrong thing is actually part of the story the client needs to hear? Let's stay with that thought instead of pushing it away. And at that point, the moment went to something he was more familiar with. And at this particular point, I noticed that during the work through process of trying to work through his preference for group, it automatically flowed into some goals he has for the future, which was very interesting. His goal is not to stay where he is right now. His goal is to exit the forensic environment and perhaps down the road enter into something that's a little more meaningful for him. And it started to develop into more of a well-synchronized pattern now where we are unfolding his goals at the same time talking about his future vision. And now that he's not focused on what am I doing here in supervision anymore, and we're not so focused on each other, things started to move a whole lot smoother. Now, interestingly enough, it took us about 43 minutes till we finally broke the ice. Now the ice is starting to melt because he started to be able to converse with me freely when we were talking about, we entered into the conversation about what it means for him to work with the kids in an educational or a schooling environment and catch them before they end up in trouble. Because right now he works with people and kids that are in trouble. So now he's thinking, you know what is it about that work that I find very attractive? And that is being able to influence